Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive.
Great to be diving in again.
Today, we're exploring a really ancient text, but one that honestly feels incredibly relevant. We're looking at Job chapter 8.
That's right. We've got the biblical text itself and also some really insightful modern commentary to help us navigate it.
And our mission really is to pull out these nuggets of wisdom about suffering, about divine justice, and think about how these ancient ideas actually hit home today.
Yeah, specifically how they can maybe encourage us in our faith and our obedience to God, even when things are tough.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So the scene is set, right? Job is suffering immensely.
Unimaginably. And his friends show up, supposedly to comfort him.
Supposedly being the key word.
Yeah, but it quickly turns into this intense debate about why. Why is Job suffering? And today we're focusing on Bildad the Shuhite, his response in chapter 8.
And Bildad comes in with a very, shall we say, firm view.
Yeah.
Very traditional.
Rigid, may.
Yeah, rigid is a good word. His core idea is God is just, period.
Which is true, of course.
Absolutely. But Bildad then takes the leap. He strongly implies Job's suffering must be because of sin.
Either Job's own sin, or he even points to Job's children.
It's that classic, almost simplistic cause and effect. Suffering happens, therefore sin must have preceded it.
And he doesn't waste any time laying it out. He challenges Job straight away, doesn't he? Asks him, how long will you speak these things? Calls his words a strong wind.
Pretty confrontational.
Very. Then he asks these rhetorical questions. Does God pervert judgment, or does the Almighty pervert justice?
Setting up his argument. God is always right.
Exactly. And then he gets really specific, suggesting, if your children sinned, maybe that's why they're gone.
Oof. That must have been brutal for Job to hear.
Absolutely brutal. But then Bildad offers this glimmer of hope, sort of. He says, if you would seek God, if you were pure and upright, well, then God would restore you.
Right. Your latter end should greatly increase. It's a promise, but it hinges entirely on Job admitting guilt, doesn't it?
It really does. The premise is, you must be guilty, but if you repent, things will get better.
It's such a human thing, isn't it? Trying to find a neat explanation for tragedy, often by assigning blame somewhere.
Definitely. And what's also interesting is how quickly Bildad appeals to tradition.
Oh, yeah. Verses 8 to 10, he tells Job, basically, go ask the older generations, check with your ancestors.
He says, inquire of the former age, because we are but of yesterday and know nothing.
It's like saying, look, Job, this isn't new. The answers are already out there in our traditions. Just accept them. He really thinks the past has all the solutions locked down.
He leans so heavily on that established wisdom, and then he uses those really vivid metaphors from nature to drive his point home.
Those are powerful, yeah. Verses 11 through 19.
He asks, can the rush grow up without mire? Can the flag grow without water? Like papyrus or reeds?
Plants that absolutely need that swampy ground. Without it, they just wither and die.
And that's his image for people who forget God. They'll just wither away. It's inevitable, in his view.
He talks about the hypocrite's hope being like a spider's web.
Fragile, easily destroyed, no real substance or security there.
And he sums it all up. So are the paths of all that forget God, and the hypocrite's hope shall perish. It's a stark, unforgiving picture he paints.
Very clear, very black and white. If you're not pure and upright, this is your fate.
Exactly. And he wraps up his speech with what he sees as this undeniable truth. Verses 20 to 22.
To go on.
Behold, God will not cast away a perfect man, neither will he help the evildoers.
So if you're good, God's got your back. If you're bad, he won't help you. Simple as that.
And he even promises Job, if you are righteous, God will eventually fill your mouth with laughing and your lips with rejoicing. Your enemies will be shamed.
What's striking is just the sheer certainty.
Oh, completely. Bildad presents it as if the link between your current situation and your past actions is always perfectly clear, always immediately obvious. Like we can just look and know.
Okay, so we've heard Bildad's case. It's powerful, it's traditional, but, well, it feels harsh, especially to Job.
Deeply harsh.
So, stepping back, what are the timeless lessons here? Even from flawed advice, what can we learn? Our commentary really helps draw out some key insights.
Yes, and this is where it gets really useful for us, I think. The first big one is realizing that truth, when it's misapplied, can actually cause harm.
Say more about that.
Well, Bildad's core belief that God is that's absolutely true theology. God is just.
Right.
But the way he uses that truth, wielding it like a weapon to blame Job and his agony, that twists the truth into something that deepens the pain.
Instead of comforting, it condemns.
Exactly. It's a huge lesson in needing compassion alongside our convictions. Knowledge without love can really wound people.
That's powerful. What else?
Secondly, it shows us that traditional wisdom, while valuable, isn't always the right fit for every single moment.
Hmm. So, looking to the past is good, but
But you can't just take an old answer off the shelf and assume it perfectly addresses someone's unique, complex suffering right now. Life throws curveballs that old formulas don't always account for.
it requires wisdom and discernment in the present moment.
Precisely. It encourages a bit more humility when we try to apply these big spiritual truths.
That makes sense. It's easy to just reach for a familiar saying without really engaging with the person's specific situation, which I guess leads to the next point.
It does. There's a real danger in jumping to conclusions about cause and effect when it comes to suffering.
Bildad's black and white thinking.
Exactly. Suffering equals sin. But the whole book of Job basically screams it's not that simple. There are complexities, spiritual realities, things happening that we just don't see.
Job's story is a prime example of that.
Right. So connecting this to the bigger picture, this ancient wisdom pushes us towards humility and compassion when we see suffering, instead of rushing to judgment. And understanding that can actually strengthen our faith
How so?
by teaching us to trust God's bigger plan, His sovereignty, even when we lack easy answers. Faith isn't about having everything figured out.
Okay, so this is where it gets really practical, right? How do these insights from way back in Job's time actually help us navigate hardship and maybe deepen our own faith today?
They're incredibly practical. First off, we need to actively resist playing the blame game when people are hurting.
That you must have done something wrong. Logic that Bildad used.
Yeah, it's still around, isn't it? Sometimes subtle, sometimes not so subtle. But Job's story fundamentally challenges the idea that suffering is always a direct punishment.
So instead of judgment,
Offer empathy, offer compassion. That aligns us much more closely with God's character. And thinking about obedience, this encourages obedience by cultivating love and understanding, not harsh judgment.
that really hits home. It's so tempting sometimes, even with good intentions, to offer those tidy explanations for someone's messy reality.
It absolutely is, which ties into the next point. We shouldn't weaponize theology,
Even good theology.
even good theology, like Bildad's belief in God's justice. When it's twisted to shame someone or silence their pain, it's being misused. Real, healthy theology should lead to love. It should build people up, not tear them down.
That's a great filter. Does my belief make me more loving?
Exactly. Recognizing this actually strengthens faith because it highlights that true belief is constructive. It's life-giving.
Okay, what else for today?
Third, we need to be incredibly careful with giving advice when someone is grieving.
Oh, this is a big one.
Huge. Job needed presence, comfort. He got principles, lectures. Sometimes people just need you to sit with them in the silence,
Yeah.
not offer a 5-point plan.
It's about ministry through presence, not just pronouncements.
Yes, and that encourages obedience by teaching us practical, loving ways to care for people, prioritizing their need for comfort over our need to explain or fix.
It's more about listening than rushing in with solutions.
Precisely, which flows into the next idea. Seek to understand the person's pain, not just explain it away.
Avoid the Bildad temptation to give neat answers.
Right, because often there aren't neat answers. The deeper wisdom, the real spiritual maturity, often lies in walking with people through the mystery, acknowledging the complexity.
And that strengthens faith how?
By helping us embrace the fact that God's ways are higher than ours. We can trust Him even when things don't make sense, even when the answers aren't simple or immediate.
That requires real trust.
It does. And maybe one final overarching thought. Let your theology make you more compassionate, not less.
That feels like the heart of it.
If what you believe about God, His justice, His sovereignty, His love, doesn't lead you to more love, more empathy, more patience with others, well, maybe it's time to check how you're applying those beliefs.
Because genuine faith should transform us to be more like Christ.
Right.
More loving.
Absolutely. It directly encourages that practical obedience to love one another.
It brings us back to that verse you mentioned earlier, Job 8:20. Behold, God will not cast away a perfect man, neither will he help the evildoers.
Bildad says it with such finality.
But the whole story of Job shows us life isn't that straightforward, at least not from our perspective.
Exactly. God's justice is real, absolutely. But it unfolds on His timeline, in His way, often beyond what we can fully grasp.
Understanding that, really, it promotes a deeper faith, doesn't it? One based on trust in God Himself, not just in getting quick answers or seeing perfect, immediate cause and effect.
It moves us beyond a transactional faith to a relational trust.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot to chew on from just one chapter, from Bildad's perspective.
It really is.
This deep dive into Job chapter 8, seeing Bildad's flawed yet understandable arguments, it really gives us profound lessons for today.
It highlights compassion, humility, trust.
All crucial for strengthening our walk with God, especially when we or others face suffering.
Definitely.
So, as you, our listeners, reflect on this deep dive, here's something to consider. Have you ever found yourself quickly trying to explain away someone else's suffering with a simple answer? Or perhaps had someone do that to you? How did it feel, and what might a more compassionate, Job-informed response look like?
This Labor Day at Lowe's, shop member-only doorbuster deals for a limited time. Save $50 on an Ego string trimmer, now $169. Plus, get 50% off select Holland pavers. Not a rewards member? Sign up for free today. But hurry, Labor Day doorbuster deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 9/1 while supplies last. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.